This week on Be a Better Landlord, we're going to talk about the AI Landlord, fact or fiction. Stay tuned. Okay, so everybody is talking about artificial intelligence. They have now for the better part of 3 years, ever since ChatGPT had a really huge landmark release. And you are probably bombarded in your everyday life with AI being added in all kinds of things. It's now in iPhones. You probably come across it in Gmail or Google Docs. It's in basically everything. So you, as a real estate investor, you may be wondering, can AI actually help, right? Can it actually transform things and make your life easier? Well, yes and no. The short answer, AI-powered landlords aren't running the show yet, but automation tools are definitely transforming things. The future might bring even more changes, as tends to happen. The long answer is it's more complicated. As you may know from the way the technology improves, some things are going to be vastly useful today for you to integrate into your real estate business. Other ones, we're not quite there. So let's break it down. How is AI changing property management today in 2025? Well, first of all, tenant screening. There are some AI tools that analyze rental applications, credit scores, and eviction histories to identify the likely best person to move into your rental property. But we recommend approaching these very carefully. This is not a place that you want AI to be making all your decisions, because getting the perfect tenant is so paramount to the success of your rental business. So we recommend, if you use any kind of AI for this, make sure that you're still taking a look yourself and that you're still comparing everything that you get against your predetermined renter screening criteria. By that, we mean before you ever start to market your rental property, make sure you know exactly who you want. What is their ideal income? What is their minimum credit score? Is there any eviction history? Is there any criminal history? Make sure you have all of that written down. Write down your perfect renter profile and then start screening. And anything that AI's tools may give you back, make sure you are looking at it, giving it a close second glance, because this is not somewhere you want to skip. AI-generated listing descriptions. We hear all the time from newer landlords that they have no idea how to market their property. And in some cases, you're just too close to it. You might say, it's a great place. It's a 2-bedroom. It's a 2-bath. What else do you need to know? It's there. You can see where it's located on the map. Well, TurboTenant has a tool that actually will write the description for you. You put in a few basic details, you click the button, and our tool writes up a really nice description of your property that's compliant with all fair housing regulations. It's a great way to use AI and to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward when you start marketing your property. The next one is AI-powered virtual tours. Everyone knows you've got to have great visuals to go along with that great description of your property, and this is a place where some landlords get a little hesitant. You can hire a professional photographer or videographer to capture your rental, get a nice walkthrough video, show it off to people. There are some tools coming out now that are AI-powered for this, and those are great. They're a great way to spruce up your listing. However, as with all of these, use with caution. You don't want to go too far down the AI-generated image route, because then you may start creating complete falsehoods of what your rental even looks like. You don't want to have something in there that shows a balcony when your rental actually doesn't have a balcony. That's just straight up false, right? You don't want to do that. There's a difference between showing it in its best light and showing it in a completely fake fictional light. So AI-powered visuals can be cool if they are enhancing, if they're, brightening things up, fixing the contrast, if it's just making your images look a little better, maybe straightening them, but don't go overboard with these. People can definitely tell when something is AI generated, and it's not going to do you any favors. All right, next up is an AI leasing assistant. So there are a lot of these kinds of tools that automatically respond to incoming queries like a chatbot. So you've likely encountered these on all kinds of websites. We at TurboTenant actually use one for our customer support. We have custom trained it on everything with our product. So you can get your own, and you can custom train it on your renter criteria, on your rental properties, etc. And that can be a really nice way to just serve up some sort of elementary information. If somebody has really detailed questions, they can still reach out to you. They may just be able to leave a question with your chatbot, and then it's routed to you by email or whatever tool you're using for this. This is definitely not a replacement for you. You are not looking to remove yourself entirely, but it is a great way to just automate giving somebody information, telling them when a property is available or what the security deposit is or anything like that. It's also a great way to automatically set up showing times, which is something else that TurboTenant offers directly in our product. Rent collection. So the way that AI can help with rent collection is really just to automate things. Automation is amazing, especially when you are a DIY landlord, when you don't have that many people on your own payroll, but you're trying to run an efficient business. Automating things like rent collection can save you a ton of time. This isn't AI in the traditional sense of a, set it and forget it and they'll do everything for you. But I think we can all agree rent collection is important enough. You still want to have a little bit of hands-on there. You still want to be able to see that the money is on its way to your bank account or is now in your bank account. That's always a fun email to receive. But this can automate things and save you a bunch of time. It can also help the tenant know exactly what's happening, how much is due, when it's due. In the event that there are any late fees, we're the bad guy. Our automated message will reach out as TurboTenant, not as you. And so you can just be like, yeah, that's the reminder. Looks like you need to pay. Pricing optimization. This final one is a little controversial. There are some pending lawsuits, pending legislation to ban certain methods of doing optimization for rental fees. And what I mean when I say this is that there are tools where you can plug in your address, plug in the number of beds and bathrooms, and it'll say, here's the amount you should charge. There are some issues that some people have with this where they say that this is evidence of landlords or larger property management companies colluding to boost the price, to bleed renters dry, etc. We'll actually do a future video on this because this is a big enough topic that it just needs some more discussion around it. But at a core level, this can look like polling for local comparable rentals and pricing your property accordingly. And at its surface, there's nothing wrong with that. It's very similar to whenever you're buying a property, how your real estate agent will say, oh, are you interested in this one? I will pull some comps. And what they do is they go out and they look at other 3-bedroom, 2-baths that recently sold. What did they sell for? And then they compare it to the one you're looking at to see if you've got the right price. So this can be a really great way, especially when you are brand new to renting out property. It can be a really good way to figure out what should I actually charge. Okay, so can AI replace landlords completely? No, absolutely not. As with most things, AI can be a nice tool. It can be something very useful to have in your back pocket or to kind of help creative juices flow when you start brainstorming. But it is not a replacement for your good old-fashioned flesh and blood landlord. Human landlords are great. They have emotional intelligence needed to handle sensitive issues like resolving tenant disputes, handling emergencies or unique property issues, and building a rapport with their tenants. All of these things are super core to a landlord's experience and to their ability to make a welcoming home for their tenants. So AI can absolutely help you organize things, help you automate things, but you should not just completely lean on ChatGPT to run your entire business, or else some weird things are going to happen. Okay, what are the potential risks of an AI landlord? What are those weird things that can happen? Well, one of them is bias. As anyone knows who has played around with some of these bigger chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini or some of the other ones, they can occasionally have some strange biases. Some of these are obvious, some of them are not so obvious, and regardless of how obvious they are, you do not want to introduce that into your rental business. Anytime you're putting anything into AI and getting anything out of it, make sure you're double checking it. Make sure you are reading through it. Make sure you are seeing this from the lens of someone who knows nothing about your property or your business or yourself, and make sure there's no bias. This is especially true with screening and with advertising your property. You do not want to put stuff in there like no smokers or perfect for families or perfect bachelor pad. All of those sound innocuous, but they are actually fair housing violations. So those kinds of things, make sure you are removing them. Make sure you're sticking solely to the facts when you talk about your property and when you're screening tenants. Other unsavory things that AI can do with your business, it can produce errors. It can also erode that tenant trust. And that tenant trust is very key when messaging. So if you're going back and forth with a tenant, if you are relying on AI too much, it is very obvious. You out there have probably received AI written messages, and it probably made you think, that sounded weird. You know what we mean, addressing you by your entire full name, or not using contractions when otherwise everybody uses contractions when they talk, right? If you're relying on AI at all to write messages to your tenants, make sure that you are going back through it. Make sure that you're making it sound more like a human, more like you would actually talk. All right, so what does the future hold for AI in real estate? Well, as of filming this, it is late January 2025, which means that everyone has been writing their predictions for what this year holds. And a lot of that has to do with AI. The fact of the matter is nobody has any idea. But we'll go ahead and guess. As AI continues to evolve, we're probably going to see more tools that automate lease drafting and renewals, use predictive analytics to improve tenant retention. I'm sure we're going to see more chatbots. A lot of people are talking about making AI more agentic, meaning that it is giving more of a natural chatbot kind of experience. And there are some legitimately useful ways that that can be brought into your business, but you want to make sure it still feels like you and that you are still involved. Other ways AI may be used in real estate is to manage smart home systems with improved energy efficiency, by turning on lights, by making it look like someone's home when they're not, by adjusting thermostat depending on who's home. All of these things can be really useful when done correctly. But you want to make sure that if you're using these in your rental property, that your tenant knows about it, and you want to make sure you're not taking away control from them, because that's not very fun in their own house. So while an entirely AI-driven landlord might remain just a concept for now, the future of property management is undoubtedly tied to more automation. The key is to make sure it fits into your business and to make sure that you are still involved to give it that human touch. If you have any more thoughts about how AI can be used to transform your rental business, leave them down below, and we'll see you next time.